Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Transformers deck building game. This is for the new expansion, Dawn of the Dinobots. So like the previous expansions, this is, or hopefully it's going to be going in the future too, this is a standalone expansion, so it requires either the base game, which is the Autobot set, or Rising Darkness, which is the Decepticon set. You can pick up either one of them, and you can just mash this into it, basically. Although there's some rules they do have for taking room and cards. We'll kind of go over them when we go over the rule book here quick. Otherwise, if you have both expansions, you can also add team mode. So you can play team versus team because you'll have enough extra cards to do that. We'll also go over bonus pack number 4 here. So like what the Renegade Studio does, which for whatever reason, there they are, Renegade Studios, who creates this game. What they like to do with all their boxes is if you pre-order it, you get a bonus pack of cards for all their lots of their different games. And then if you didn't happen to get it, then it will eventually be available in their web store as a web store exclusive. For about $5, $5-6, depending on which one it is. But there's also shipping and stuff, so buying it by itself. One pack by itself isn't generally feasible, but if you're buying it with the box, great. But if you pick this up in stores and you realize later, you can always go and pick up like the bundle of them. All of them, then it'll kind of help justify that shipping cost. Alright, let's hop in and look at what is new in this set. So, Dawn of the Dinobots. Overall, it's the basic same thing as everything else, but there's a couple fun new things in here. So it adds, of course, we're going to get Dinobots as Autobot characters. We're also going to get Devastator as a Destructicon, who has his own separate way of playing, which is definitely fun. New standees, more tokens, stuff like that. And I always add these because in that way you have enough for the extra characters, assuming you just bought one base set. So as you keep buying every base set, you're going to get a ton of this stuff. Customizing the game is pretty simple. It just says, you're free to customize your main deck to tell the story you want. Do so by simply swapping out any number of bosses, robots, technologies, maneuvers, sites, allies, and or routes. Basically, your main deck cards, or your bosses, with cards from this expansion to other one. But they suggest you roughly keep it the same. So if you remove a 5-cost maneuver from the base game, add 5 cost from this game. Or if you remove like one of the Autobot allies, it's cost 3, maybe remove, add one of 3 of this cost. So you're keeping the deck roughly the same size, so you don't have a massively over big deck. You can definitely do that. So just kind of like keeping it general. And then you can kind of pick and choose what characters you want. Like here it even specifies in there. So if you're playing with this set that maybe wants to use subtypes like the Dinobots, you might want to include all the Dinobots in here. Or one of the bosses is Predacons, who uses the Predacons. So you're probably going to want to add the Predacon Decepticons in there. But if you're not using Predacon, then you don't have to worry as much about having them. Or if you have Predacon without any of the Predacons, then he's kind of, he's definitely not as much of a challenge. For playable characters, any of the 4 Autobots or 2 Decepticons can be used in the same manners as a standalone game, whichever sides. So like you can team up Sludge with RC or Shockwave with Megatron. So yeah, you can do whatever you need. It says, but if you're playing as Devastator, you need to swap out all 6 of your normal Wrath or Courage starting cards with his unique cards. And there's a little bit more on that later. Team versus team is where stuff can get a little bit more interesting here. Again, build it just like normal. It says you can play Autobots versus Dinobots, because Dinobots are kind of like a sub-faction of the Autobots. In the same way, you can also do like Devastator versus the Decepticons if you like, because Devastator is essentially his own team in himself, but he's also like, again, he's kind of like, yeah, he works with the Decepticons, but, except for certain ones, he might, want to smack them in the face once in a while. And then there's some new damage cards we'll go over, which are really fun. This actually just goes through how to set up for team versus team with a single base set. So if you have a single one, how to swap in all the different stuff out. I'm not going to read through all of that, but just knowing that you can do that. It gives some good rules on how to do it. And then team versus team rules. It's explaining how all this stuff works. Gets extra bonuses, doing different stuff like that. So if you're playing both the core set and your Rising Darkness, this is only Decepticons may purchase Rise Up, only Autobots may purchase Roll Out. Just certain other things like that. Defensive assets. All this is just saying is, who can help who and things like that. I'm not going to get into all of that. That's very game specific. But just what all them rules are in here, like Autobots versus Dinobots. Just specifies if you are playing that way, then only include Decepticon bosses. And basically, you can work together against teams, but other than that, you should play as if you're playing against each other. Then there's also one versus many mode, which is been introduced with the third expansion, or the first big small expansion, Infiltration. But you can also play with any of the bigger sets as well. Just different rules for all that. It says when you're choosing them, just consider who you want to do. Each person, you get some extra things. Then we have new things. We have the Combiners, which are a new type of card. Combiner characters like Devastator are playable and have a larger card size and a standee of other characters, which have Team and Combiner instead of Alt and Bot. So basically, they're the small guys, either all the team of bots, or they're the full combined form. And they come with their own set of cards, Wrath cards. I'm assuming when they make a Autobot version, it'll come with a different set of Courage cards instead. Otherwise, they're treated the exact same. They do everything the same. Which is how they start the game in team mode. So now in team mode just means their card it says team mode, not saying you have to play a team versus team game with them. And then they have the team mode represents their 6 different Constructicons as individual bots. So each one's different. So it's like this is Wrath Scavenger, there'll be like a Wrath Hook. So you get little different starter cards for each character. And then some of them work only in team mode, some of them don't. And then he has his own special abilities too. One big difference is, and it does say in the cards though, is that when you transform from large size to small size, is that you have to lose energize. So when you're going from your team to a combiner, you lose a point of energy if you have any. And at the beginning of every turn when you are a combiner, you lose an energy point as well. If you can't afford that, then you flip over. So being that they're generally a little bit more powerful, they have that drawback. New special damage, which is fun. They introduce that in some of the other sets. And then there's just a bunch of this card clarification, which I'm not going to go over too much on each one. Just because you'll if you need to jump through and read it. The only one I do want to look over is Dinobots. They include unique options for battling Autobots when in Alt mode. With the exception of Swoop, each Dinobot has some variation of unit attack Autobot robots on your turn, with different restrictions and or penalties. Like Grimlock must pay 1 energy to battle Autobots. If he defeats it, it goes in his discard pile instead of his vault. The rules for battling Decepticons remain unchanged. So basically, they can get the rewards for defeating them as if like a Decepticon defeated them, versus just buying them and adding them to their deck. Which works even better if you're playing versus. And then here's the quick list of all the different things if you're adding different sets together, what goes in what. And before we start looking at the cards, let's just take a look at the credits of all the awesome people that worked on this game. Definitely gotta keep shouting out these guys in every video, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have the game. Alright, let's look at our components. Start off, we're gonna have all our tokens. We have some more energy, some ongoing. We have our little miniatures. We have our 4 Dinobots, Shockwave, and Devastator. You can see Devastator's like at least twice as big as everybody else. Of course, the back side are just the minus movements, start of turn, and then the other side. Now you might be like, oh, there's only 4 Dinobots, but there's actually 5, because the 5th one is in the promotion pack. And they basically did this because they wanted to keep this fair. You can only fit so many characters in each set. So if they would have done all 5 Dinobots, they either would have to only do one bad guy just Devastator, or they would have had to, add extra stuff and do it a little bit differently, and they didn't want to do that. But I am glad that they included both Shockwave and Devastator, because that would, hey, I wanted Dinobots, but maybe I'm not a huge fan of the combiner thought or how that works. You at least have another Decepticon character to play as. Then, of course, we're going to get all the little standees. And then we'll have all of the cards. Alright, so first up we're going to look at is Devastator himself. He's this giant, oversized card. So yeah, he'll work otherwise, for the most part, he'll work everything just like a regular character once he's in play. He's his own team, basically. So you got Combiner up at the top. He's got special abilities. So he has 1 movement here. Start of your turn, lose 1 energy. If you cannot, flip this card to team mode. He has +2 power at range 1 during your turn. And then his energon abilities are other characters in your space gain 2 damage, basically stepping on people. And 2 energon, destroy non-boss card in your space, then gain a different card with a cost of 2 to 5 from the destroyed pile. That's definitely cool. And if he flips over, we have the team mode, which has all the different Constructicons. So still only has 1 move. So next time you convert this card, lose 1 energy, if any, and you may use team effects on your Wrath cards. So if anyone's wondering about sleeving this card, because I've definitely seen that already when people were asking, is I am just currently using a 4x6 recipe protectors. You can also buy them for like postcards and stuff like that. It's just a 4x6 card. This just happened to be the one I picked up at like Hobby Lobby because I was trying to find one for a different game. But yeah, it works out very nicely. It's not maybe as stiff as some other card sleeves might be, and they might have there might be other brand of like more specific gaming sleeves that might be a little bit more stiff if you're looking to protect it. So just a 4x6 card sleeve. Yeah, so you definitely pick them up. I just like sleeving all my cards just so I don't get fingerprints and stuff on them. But that is that. So before we jump in to the other Autobot and Decepticons, I want to look at the starter cards for Devastator. So we have his Wrath cards. So these are going to all give you +1 energy. But then they're going to have various team abilities and energon abilities. So the team abilities for like Scrapper here is, while he's in team mode, you can get +1 power when battling other robots. And if you're in a combiner mode, you can spend 2 energon to confront +2 power. When you're play the Hook card, you can get team +1 range, or combiner confront, you get +2 power. So as with these cards, as a combiner side, you can use the confront ability to gain extra 2 power. I think they're all the same. But the other ability works well when you're a team. So we have Wrath Bone Crusher. When you defeat an adversary, you may destroy a non-basic card you control. Here we get with Long Haul, we get +1 move. Mixmaster, you may discard 1 starter to gain 1 energon. And Scavenger, peek at the adjacent card in the Matrix. So it's kind of fun. Like it's a neat way to do this cards, because then you get some that work for your team abilities, some that work for your thing. But you're replacing all your other Wrath cards with these specific ones. Or it says or courage in the base game. It says or courage in the book, and that's because if you're only playing with the base game, you wouldn't have Wrath, because Wrath were the Decepticon cards from Rising Darkness. So there you're just replacing the courage version of those if you want to play them with the base game. So definitely fun. Alright, then let's look at the rest of our character cards, and then we'll get into the main deck. So let's look at our other Decepticon. We have Shockwave. The steaming guy. Like, everyone always thinks of, like, Soundwave. Or not Soundwave. This Soundwave's good. As Starscream is being like, oh, Starscream's the one that's always against Megatron. He's always trying to backstab him. He is, but he's always trying to do it, like, in a distance of, like, next to him. Or, like, undermine his team. Shockwave literally just sitting on Cybertron being like, yes, Lord Megatron. Yeah, whatever I'm gonna do. So he turns off the comm. He's like, I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. I don't care about Megatron. I'm doing this for myself. So he's even more traitorous than Starscream is. But he's, you know, maybe not as upfront about it. So it says when a card refills the space in the matrix with range 2 of your character, you may immediately peek at it. Then he has Energon teleport one character to any space, or reveal the top 2 cards of the main deck, then regain one of them if it costs 2+ and not a boss, and then leave the other. So it's kind of cool. He gets the ability to like scope out what's coming out ahead of time and move around the board. And then if we flip him to his other side, where instead of being a giant, I guess he looks like a spaceship instead of a laser cannon. He has 3 moves. The next non-damage card you play during your turn has +1 power or +1 range. And then discard 1 card to gain 2 move or 1 energon. So some very good abilities there. And then what would Dinobots be without Grimlock, the leader? Me, I'm Grimlock. His alt form has 1 move. It says, Energon, you may battle 1 Autobot during your turn. When you do, gain it instead of putting it in your vault. And then end your turn. When confronting, +1 power at 0 range. So it's kind of fun. During your turn, you can gain it instead of putting it into your vault. So that's right, yeah, you can fight an Autobot, but you get to use it. And then on the other side, he has his bot form. It says each Dinobot you play during your turn has +2 power. Destroy 1 card you control, or gain 1 Dinobot from the Matrix, or all Dinobots from the destroyed pile. So that's kind of funny. He uses his first one to destroy a card if he wants. He always uses his second one to gain all the Dinobots at once. If there's some reason why you want to destroy a card. Or you can weaken his other cards to gain Dinobots. It's definitely a fun mechanic. Then we have Swoop, who has alt form, who's a pterodactyl, who has, is it a pterodactyl or is it a pterodon? Probably a pterodactyl. 2 move with flight. When you spend one of this, so one of those characters 2 move to enter space, you do not trigger ambushes. That is definitely fun. Because she's flying. Or he's flying. We have Swoop, bot form. Start your turn, you may put 1 card with a cost of 3 or less from your discard pile into your hand. If you do, discard a different card. And then peek at any card in the matrix, you may reveal it and teleport to that space. And then cards you control with flight have +1 power. So it's always going to be about moving around and letting his team know what's going on. We have Sludge, the Brontosaurus. Brontosaurus or a Brachiosaurus? I think it's a Brontosaurus. I believe Brachiosaurus have the little top on it. I think someone's going to correct me and tell me that neither of those probably exist anymore, which is fine, but they existed at the time the Dinobots were conceived of, and that's what they based them off of. Move 1, you may battle Autobot robots during your turn, but you must pay 2 more power to do so. Then when confronting, +1 range, or +1 power at 0 range. And then its bot form is each time you trigger an ambush during your turn, draw 1 card before it resolves. And then ignore the game text on damage cards you control this turn. That is nice. And then return up to 2 damage you control to the stack. If you return 2 damage, gain 1 VP. This guy's kind of all about like just running in and taking the hits. You know, he's your tank. Definitely good. And then our final one is Sludge the Triceratops. Move 1, you may battle Autobot robots during your turn, but you do not gain that reward. Instead, you may choose to put them in your vault or destroy them and gain 2 energy when confronting, plus 1 power at 0 range. And then we flip him over. And he's got, when you buy a card with a block, you may place it on top of your deck. Move all other characters in your space to adjacent spaces, and the next time you draw a confrontation, you may resolve the ambush text instead. So yeah, he's it's kind of neat because he's like a defensive character, but like where Sludge was all about kind of just taking the hits, you know, or like worrying about ambushes. He's kind of like avoiding the combat, like not like swoop avoiding it, but like if it comes, he has a way to deal with it before it becomes an issue. So it's definitely fun. Those are 5 new characters, or 6 new characters. Alright, then we have 5 new copies of a damage card. So, essentially you just shuffle these in with your other damage cards. And it just gives you a little bit of flair, because the original damage cards just did damage. They basically were a waste of your turn. And or if you're playing single player, they gave you damage. And it kind of messed you up that way. The new ones they've been adding in each expansion have giving them special effects, which kind of make it fun, because then you don't know which version you're going to get. So then it's harder to deal with them. And this one is Stasis Lock, which says, on your turn, play this card before any other card in your hand. You cannot spend energy on this turn. End of the game, for every 2 damage you own, lose 1 VP. When gained, put in your discard pile. So you gain it, goes to your discard pile. When you draw it. So now the way everyone online I've been seeing has been interpreting the way these rules work. It says, this is on your turn, play this card before any other card in your hand. As there might be a reason you might be like, I don't want to take this damage, or I can't afford to take this damage, because maybe I have too much damage already, especially if you're playing single player mode, or whatever, or team mode. There's stuff like that. So they're saying, I can't afford this. They're just saying, as long as you don't play any cards, you don't have to play this. But if you decide to play anything, this has to be played first. Then you can play other cards. Which I guess it kind of makes sense. I'm used to most weakness cards in deck building games being like, as soon as you draw it, it automatically takes effect. So it's a little bit different on these, that people are basically saying, I can just skip my turn, essentially. Or do anything that doesn't involve me playing a card. I can use like my character's abilities, and I don't have to use these damage cards, which I guess kind of works as well, because then you can essentially avoid using them at all. You know, you're not forced to take them. Alright, so yeah, you just add these guys into there. Then we're going to look at the next card. So we have 2 copies of each of these. These are the technology. We have Circuit Speeders. 1 energy to move, technology block. You may gain 1 damage to gain 1 energon and 2 move. And then confront assist, gain 1 damage or 2 power. So it's kind of fun. Like, we have some new damage cards, and we're going to get a card that gives you damage, especially early on because it's a 2-cost card. But it's going to give you some bonuses for it. So can you afford to take the hits? You're playing someone like Sludge, you probably could, because you can get rid of damage cards. We have 2 copies of T-Cog Device, 2 energy with 1 rain. Target character within range may convert, ignoring additional costs, penalties, or effects that limit it. Target character within range flips your character card to the other side. It's definitely fun. Just a way to freely change people whenever you need to. We have 2 Sonic Swords, 2 energy, plus 1 power when battling adversaries, or confront, plus 2 power. And our last technology are 2 Chronospheres, 2 energy, 2 range. Next time you flip an adversary face up, you may flip it face down without resolving its game effects. Then reclaim any move, energon, or game text you use to search that space. Basically, you can travel back in time and be like, nope, I don't want to fight that guy. Let me gain all my stuff back to get that. And then it says confront, cancel this confrontation, activate before assets are resolved. So if you know you're not going to beat it, you can go ahead and stop it. So this is definitely a fun, powerful card. Costs 5 though. Alright, then we have some maneuvers. We have 2 copies of Combine. 2 energy, 1 move. You may convert. If you do, gain 1 energon. And confront target starter has +2 powers. This is meant to really work well with Devastator. But you can use it with anybody. But Devastator gets a huge bonus because then he has extra energy to keep him alive. And you can use his starter cards more. We have 2 logic puzzles. 1 energy, range, and move. You may pick up 3 face-up, non-boss, and or face-down cards in the matrix. Peek at them, then secretly return them face down to any space in the matrix. Flip all adjacent cards face up. Definitely a fun thing. We'll play around, maybe mess with your opponent some. 2 copies of Death from Above. 2 energy, 1 range, 1 move. Flight and block. +1 power for each other card you control. Flight. Target card has flight. And then we have 2 copies of Me, Smash Brains. 3 energy. Attack. You may attack. Target character in your space may gain 2 damage. If they choose not to, they must destroy 1 card in their hand. And 2 energy defeated robot in your space. So definitely handing out the damage. Then we have a bunch of single cards. We're going to have 1 copy of each. We have our relics. So we have Or 1. Peek at the top X cards of your deck, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Then leave them or draw them. If you draw them, you must first discard your hand. Then every other player must also discard and redraw their hand. Then destroy the top card of the main deck. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So basically, you can look at the top X cards. If you have 4 cards in your hand, you only top X cards in your hand, you can draw them. But if you draw them, you have to discard your hand, and then you get them 4 cards. Basically, you're getting to discard your hand and essentially redraw your hand. But it's based on how many cards you have, and you get a chance to look at them first. So it's kind of fun. And then if you do, all other players have to basically do the same thing, but they don't get the option. And you just try the top card of the main deck. Just kind of weakening things. Then we have Lydian Darts, 2 energy, 3 range. You may target any number of characters within range. Each target gains 1 damage. Damage which would be put in their discard pile is placed on the top of their deck instead. I mean, it costs 8, but that's nuts to force someone to have to take a point of damage, and depending on where you are, you could give. Then we have a bunch of allies. So we're going to start with Carly Witwicky. Ongoing, you spend 1 fewer energon to activate energon abilities that cost 2 or more. And then we have Daniel Witwicky. Ongoing, the first robot you play during each player's turn has +1 power. If this card is discarded from play, draw 1 card. So it's kind of like the Autobot ones. And then we're going to get the Decepticon ones. We have Ammonites. At the start of your turn, you may choose target character within range 1 to resolve an ambush. If the ambush is blocked, discard this card and gain 1 damage. And Insecticon Clones. Ongoing, target card you control has +1 power for each robot you choose to reveal in your vault. If you gain 3+ power during this turn with this ally's ability, discard this card. So essentially how this works then is basically beginning your turn. You're going to reveal any number of characters from your vault, 1, 2, or 3, essentially, or more. You can reveal 5 or 6 if you really wanted to. But if you only reveal 1 or 2, you get to keep the card. If you 3 or more, you end up losing this card because basically you overuse it. But yeah, you could gain 1 or 2 easily every turn. It's kind of nice. Cool. Now we got some locations. You have Dinobot Island. Cards you control are blank except for damage. You cannot be attacked, targeted, or gain additional damage. So yeah, just smacking each other. You just sit there. You can't do anything but take damage. Start your turn. Return 1 damage you control to the stack or gain 1 Energon, then teleport to an adjacent space. Just when you get to this spot, you're going to take damage if you have one. Can't do anything else. The next turn, you have the option of either gaining Energon, so you can sit there and refuel your Energon if you need to, in the lieu of not being able to basically play any other cards, or you can just return one of your damage, but you have to hope you have a damage at that point. The question here would be, it says return 1 damage or gain 1 Energon, and it says period, then teleport. So the question is are they connected? I think the rulebook has a little bit better definition on that, but you can double check that or interpret that how you want. We have the active volcano. Place 12 Energon from the general supply in this card. Destroy 1 non-damage card you control to gain 2 Energon from this card. Start of the turn, gain 1 damage if on or adjacent to this space. Just it's all about damage. We have tar pits. Pay 1 additional move to get off this space. Pay 3 move, gain 1 card with a cost of 5 or less from the destroyed pile. And then finally, the secret lab. Pay 1 Energon, 1 move, and 1 power. Show up any number of cards in your hand for an equal number of cards in your discard pile. This is kind of a fun set because we're playing a lot with extra damage. We're playing a lot with getting stuff in your discard piles, or playing around with that type of stuff, which is really fun. Something different. Alright, then we have some Autobots. We have Wheelie. So I'm going to skip reading their stats there. Each player whose Autobot character is in your space moves their character 1 space. Or 2, play the top card of your deck. We have Kagala. Plus 1 power when you trigger an ambush this turn. Or flip up 2 adjacent cards face up. Then we're going to get Sludge. Now these guys are going to have the Dinobot keyword on there. So the Autobots haven't had a lot of keywords. So it's fun that we're going to get some. Block, you may gain 1 damage for plus 1 power. And you may destroy 1 damage in your discard pile. And then gain 1 VP and destroy 1 damage you control. So it's kind of fun that these guys have a little bit different win abilities. We have Swoop. Flight, peek at 1 face down card in the Matrix. And teleport to a card you peeked at this turn. Snarl. During confrontation, if there are no assists in play when the assists are resolved, gain 2 power. And then Energon's discard target assist. It may be used before assists are resolved. And then Slug. Block, gain 1 VP. During your turn, you may move an adjacent character in a space to an adjacent space and confront asset plus 3 power. And then finally, Grimlock. Other Dinobots you play have plus 2 power and gain 1 Dinobot from the Matrix. So definitely fun. Then we have Decepticons. We have Overkill, who's a mini cassette, which we've had plenty of those before. After defeating a boss during your turn, if the total power exceeds the necessary amount by 3 or more, gain 1 VP and confront plus 2 power. Then we are going to get Headstrong, which are Predacons. Next time you trigger an ambush, during this turn you may choose another character within range to resolve it instead. They cannot resolve the same ambush twice. Assist plus 1 power. Dive Bomb, another Predacon. Flight, you may attack target character within range, gains 1 damage. Confront assist, plus X power where X is the range of the target. Rampage. Block, you may destroy a site on your space if plus 2 characters are on it. If you do, all characters in that space gain 1 damage, including you. Destroy 1 damage you control in your discard pile. And we got Long Haul, so we got another Constructicon. So these guys have been releasing a bunch of the other sets. So I think this was the only one that we hadn't had yet. When you spend this card, cards move to leave a space. You may move a character on that space with you. He's going to hook them and drag them with. Move all characters in range to any corner space in the Matrix. Razor Claw. Block, if it's your turn, play the top card of your deck. Other Predacons you in play have +1 power, and gain 1 Predacon robot from the Matrix. So this is kind of interesting. So like we have the Dinobots as main characters in this set, and then we have the Predacons as a subset. So I wonder, it kind of makes you wonder if like the next set or like a future set, maybe not the next one, but in the future we'll get Predacons as a main game character, and then instead of the Constructicons, we'll get like the I think they're the Stunticons might be the main one. There might be a different one. There's a bunch of different combiners. Maybe we'll get an Autobot combiner like versus the Predacons. Be kind of interesting to see how they do it. If they keep doing like a reverse version. You know, we got like an Autobot theme set, and then we got a Decepticon theme set. So if this is, you know, we'll get like the reverse of that in the next one. Then we have Shockwave. The next time a card leaves the Matrix during your turn, you may refill it immediately with any card from the destroyed pile. Peek at the top card of any deck. Alright, then we have some bosses. So we're going to get Slash for our Autobot level 1 boss. Attack, reveal attack, resolving ambush. This attack and the ambush effect cannot be blocked. Start a turn, gain 1 damage. Our level 1 Decepticon is Bombshell. So we haven't really got a ton of the Decepticons either as playable characters. Reveal attack, gain 1 damage, then resolving ambush. Start a turn if you are an adversary. Move to the adjacent space. This does not cause a move. Level 2, we have Skylynx. Reveal attack, discard 1 card with move, then resolve ambush. Ongoing, you cannot battle robots. In your space, pay 2 additional move to move on to a boss. And then we have Skywarp. Reveal attack, discard 1 card with a block, and this attack cannot be blocked. Then resolving ambush. Start your turn, resolving ambush, then swap another card in a non-adjacent in the Matrix, not occupied by an adversary player. So I think now we have Thundercracker, Skywarp, and Starscream. So I think you could potentially play all 3 of them as bosses if you want. I don't know if they're all level 2s. Maybe so you might have to maybe adjust the rules, but it could be kind of a fun thing to do. And then we have Grimlock is a level 3 final boss. Attack, reveal attack, discard all allies you control, then resolving ambush. Ongoing, the first time you play a robot during your turn, resolving ambush. Dinobots cost 2 more power to defeat. And then the Predaking. Reveal attack, discard 1 ally you control, and discard 1 card for each Predacon in the Matrix. Start your turn, gain 1 damage, then put a +1 power token on all other adversaries in the Matrix, increasing the cost to defeat them. So with both Predakings and all 3 different Grimlocks, you're going to want to include the Autobot or Decepticons that are the Predaking and Dinobots in the set, you know, if you're using that character. Otherwise, they're going to be a lot weaker, because Dinobot, they won't gain their bonuses for having them subtypes. Are they still playable? Definitely yes, but they're not going to be as powerful. Then finally we have 3 schemes. We have a Decepticon scheme. Tripticon Rises. Start your turn, destroy 1 non-Decepticon card adjacent to the space. Ongoing, you cannot buy or defeat cards with adjacent to the space. Pay X power, put X power tokens on this. To thwart, contribute 10 power tokens. Definitely fun. Then we have Helnix Maximus, so Robot Initiative. On reveal, each player discards 1 ally. Ongoing, technology cards you play have no inherent power, which basically means they don't have any abilities. To thwart, contribute 3 technology cards of different costs. For each you contribute, gain 1 BP. And then we have another cooperative scheme. Cybertronium Depletion. Start your turn, discard 1 card with a move, then if you have none, lose 1 energy. To thwart, contribute cards with a combined printed move value of 6+. I like more cooperative schemes are definitely fun if you want to play that mode. Alright, so that is what we had for the base game. So let's look at the bonus pack quick. Alright, before I jump into the promo pack, these are the sleeve cards. I don't have any sleeve because I ran out of them. But these are the card size you'd use for your oversized characters, not including the giant combiner, Devastator. So if you want to sleeve these, this is a Sleeve King brand. They're called Hogwarts Battle Compatible size. They're 76 millimeters by 102 millimeters. You get 110, so they do last. And you're like, how did I run out of them? Because they're the same ones that are used by the G.I. Joe game. G.I. Joe uses different sizes. Usually the Power Ranger game uses it as well. I have a few other games that also use the size. All the DC deck building games use these. It's just very easy to run out when you buy every single set. Alright, so here's bonus pack number 4 for Dawn of the Dinobots. We are going to get, we're going to start with Slug, who's our Autobot. Wait, I don't think I was supposed to get Slug. Did they update his text? No, I just grabbed him off my other pile. Never mind. I grabbed the wrong one. Sorry, we get Snarl. We get the Stegosaurus. Who has 1 turn each of your turn. You may battle a Autobot robot. If you do, gain 1 damage. If its cost is +4, gain 2 damage instead. While confronting +1 power. So again, it's going to deal with damage. You notice these cards are slightly bent. That's just because of the way they package them, because they gotta package them with the little miniatures in the stands. And we have Snarl. At the start of your turn, if one or more other characters are in your matrix and none are adjacent to you, you may draw 1 card. Target card you control has +1 power, may be used during any player's turn. And discard target assist. If there are no assists left to resolve during the battle, gain +2 power. Yeah, it's kind of neat. It's all around thing. I hope he has the spikes on his legs. It's really cool. Then we are going to get a Decepticon. We'll get Razor Claw. Cool if we get another animal. I'm not sure how he's drooling. Yeah, it's 2 movements. Is that the first time you convert to this mode during your turn, you may flip the card in your space face up. If doing so triggers an ambush, target card you control has +1 power. And when we flip him, we will have... you may convert Predacons you play have +2 power. So this is fun because before we just had the Predacon as the boss, and now we have Razor Claw. They'll actually, so we have a regular playable character that works with the Predacons as well. Peek at 2 adjacent cards. You may move into one of them and gain 1 Predacon from the Matrix or all Predacons from the destroyed pile. So basically the opposite of Grimlock. And they'll have a little promo symbol on the bottom. We will get their little standees plus 2 more things. Now, I probably said this in the other videos. It's awesome getting more of these, obviously, because we need them. They could probably stop giving us these, especially in promo packs and regular stuff, because even if I bought this expansion and I only had the base game, I kind of get it, because you'd be like, well, then if you want to add these for team versus team, you have enough characters on both sides. Okay, but now we have 2 full big expansions we can buy, the Autobot and Decepticons, plus we have 2 small expansions we can buy. So I hope at least the promo packs they could probably stop, because you probably have enough standees, or if you don't, you'll have to just sacrifice not using so many characters. You know, that way they can maybe make these packs a little bit nicer, a little bit flatter. We'll also get 2 more bosses. We're going to get some level 3s. We have Fortress Maximus, who says, revealed adversaries in this space gain 1 damage and then must move in adjacent space, then resolve an ambush. Ongoing, adversaries cannot enter the space. Autobots on the space cannot gain damage or play assists. It's kind of neat. It's very protective of the Autobots. And then we have a Decepticon bot. We get Scorpionax. Reveal attack, gain 2 damage if you have none. Otherwise, gain 1 damage, then resolve an ambush. And start your turn, discard 1 random card, then resolve an ambush. Yes, definitely fun. We get some more Predacons. In this set, we'll get Autobots, Decepticons. Just also point out, both of these bosses have 12, where the other threes each have 10. So they kind of rank up past them. So they're almost like, they're harder versions even more than the regular ones. But that is what we'll have for Transformers Dawn of the Dinobots. Yeah, you should definitely check it out. If you want more content, great. You want more Dinobots, you love Constructicons, get more of that stuff in there. Upcoming Predacons, hopefully they'll play a different thing. I know lots of people might be like, oh, if I have Predacons, that means the Maximals are coming. Not necessarily, because the original Predacons were just like a sub-faction of the Decepticons before the Beast Wars was even a thing. Although with the upcoming Beast Wars movie, and then you also had it in the one cartoon, hopefully they'll make a Beast Wars set. But if they do, it'd be kind of neat if they make it like Infiltration, where it's like half and half. Or if they hold it off for maybe another year or so, like if they really want to do another full base set for each, one for Predacons, one for Maximals, that would be kind of cool too, but that might be pushing and hoping people like Beast Wars a little too much. Alright, see you guys in the next video. Check out all the rest of them. Bye.